My name is Christine Valory, and I am the dating diva. So, at the end of this date, I pretty much realized I'm actually a track star and didn't know it. And I didn't really even realize it was a date until the sequence of events of the evening. So, this guy I had actually met through Match.com. We went out the first time, we had drinks, and he was really kind. He actually seemed kind of fun, a little goofy, and I just wasn't attracted to him. So I couldn't see myself with him, and so he actually scheduled a second date because he really liked me, and I let him know, I talked to him and just let him know I didn't feel a romantic connection, although we had so much in common. We had similar ethnic backgrounds, and I just said I wouldn't mind being friends with him. So he initially had planned a Friday night date, and I just was like, I kind of, said I didn't feel comfortable that way. He's like, oh, well, just cool, it's cool, just hang out as friends, we'll hang out on Sunday night. I'm like, okay. So I didn't, think too much of it. I'm always open to having new friends. So ladies, don't think about being friends with guys you go on dates with because, it can happen and just, not likely. Anyways, so we go out to this place in Pasadena and we're sitting at this we're sitting in a corner booth. So he's sitting kind of to my left. And as we're sitting there kind of talking, and mind you, I was wearing a turtleneck and a sweater that was down to my knees. I had jeans on and a few inch wedges because it was a little chilly that night and I wanted to be warm. Okay? So we're sitting there talking and he starts to be very affectionate with me. He's kind of touching my face and doing the kinds of things you might do if you were in a relationship with someone, although I'd very clearly said to him, I don't feel a romantic attraction to you. So this was kind of a friend hangout-ish. So as we're sitting there, he starts to kind of hug me, and he's a big guy. I'm not a big girl. He's a big guy, like those meatheads that hang out at the gym, like the guy whose arms are so big they don't sit flat on his sides, okay? So he's sitting there, and he probably weighed 230 or something, and he's like kind of hugging me towards him. Okay, so he's hugging me towards him and kind of pushing. He's like, you're so cute. You're so cute. You're so cute. And I was like, what is this guy doing, right? So he's like, and this is what, again, within the first half an hour of us, sitting down. And he's like, and then he keeps pulling me towards him. And I'm like, he's wanting to try and kiss me. So I'm pushing him away. So I have my hands on his chest, pushing him away. And he's pulling me, and I'm pushing, and he's pulling. And it's kind of freaked me out. Because I've never had an experience like this. Like, I've had plenty of guy friends. I've even been intoxicated. Nothing's ever happened. I've always been treated really well. So for me, I was like, what is this guy doing? I told him I wasn't interested romantically. We're just kind of hanging out, to see if we're friends. And he's trying to get me to, almost force me to kiss him. I was like, what the heck? Kind of freaked me out. So he's pulling me, and I was like, there wasn't a lot of people in the place. Mind you, there was a couple people working. However, I was a little freaked out. So I was like, okay, if he's trying to force me to kiss him in a public place, what's going to happen if he tries to walk me to my car? Dear God. So I was a little, seriously, a little freaked out. So I got up and I went to the restroom and I called my girlfriend and I told her what happened, and I was like, I'm really freaked out. She said, well, let me just call you with the emergency, the emergency phone call. I was like, no. Because I don't want him to walk me to my car because that will make me 10 times more nervous. Seriously, you guys, if you feel unsafe, trust that feeling. And I was like, I don't think so. So I was going to go back and I went and asked in the kitchen. I was like, is there a back door? I've never, ever, ever run out on any date. Not before then and not since then. However, I was freaked out. And so I was like, oh, crap, I've got to figure out some way to get out of this. So I was going to go walk to the table. And let me tell you, God was on my side that day. Because apparently when I had gone to the restroom, so did he. And he wasn't sitting there. And guess what I did? I ran. In 4-inch wedges, I ran out of the restaurant. And I looked and I was like, oh, phew. And then I thought to myself, crap, what if he comes looking for me? So I ran down the little street and I turned the corner and I was like, but it was only a couple doors down. I was like, crap. I pretty much ended up running all the way to my car. 3 blocks and 3 flights of stairs. And my knees were shaking when I got in my car because I have never had anyone ever try to force me to do anything, let alone in a public place. What's he going to do, when it's not so public? Totally freaked me out. And I ended up going to a friend of mine's house, actually a guy who lived in the area. And of course, what does he do? He starts calling. And calling. And calling and calling and calling and calling, and I didn't answer the phone for I was visibly shaken. So I was at my guy friend's house, and he's like, why did you go out with the guy? If you weren't interested, why did you go out a second time? I was like, I don't know. I have the delusion some people are nice. I don't know. So we're sitting there, he calls and calls and calls and sends text messages, and then finally, I have my friend answer the phone. Big guy with a deep voice. And he basically tells him, you don't need to be calling this phone anymore. And he's asking him, oh, who are you? Is she safe? And I'm thinking to myself, if this guy's answering the phone, why the heck are you questioning who he is? Obviously. So anyways, my friend says to him, you don't need to call this number. You don't need to call this number. He's like, all right, we're clear. All right, good. Gets off the phone. What does he do? He calls back. And I was like, oh my God. Seriously. I ran out of the restaurant that I was sitting in with you. And I basically am telling you to friggin' leave me the heck alone because you freaked me out. And my friend who's answering my phone is telling you not to call. And what do? Calls back. He's like, I just want to make sure she's safe, blah, blah, blah. Now he's got concern. I'm like, all right. So my friend again says, don't call back. Do not call this number. Leave her a note. I never heard from him again. However, I will say I did learn this lesson. I am so glad I ran out of that date because if anyone's being remotely violating any kind of boundaries, especially in a public place, what the hell are they going to do when it's not so public? And for me, I wasn't going to risk it. Sure, I could have screamed. Sure, anything could have happened. However, it was not worth the risk. I'm sorry, my person, me, yeah, not worth it. I was like, okay, crazy freaking guy. Be careful, ladies. Be careful out there. And guys, seriously, when a girl says, I'm not romantically interested, if you still want something, find someone who is. Dear God, do not think you can convince someone or force someone, no matter how cute you think they are. Freakish and weird, dude. Be careful out there. It's a little hairy. You can find this and stories like this at omgseriously.com.